Spencer Dutton does two really dumb things in 1923 Season 2 Episode 4, I Can't Understand. Spencer Dutton's journey home has been dragged out in 1923 Season 2, and he made two choices in Episode 4 that I just don't understand. Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone franchise is continuously expanding, and 1923 offers an important bridge between the frontiersman era of 1883 and the contemporary original series. Examining different facets of Prohibition-era America has made for some of my favorite scenes in the show, like Alex's horrifying trip through Ellis Island. But it's also resulted in a lot of screen time invested in narratives I'm not very engaged in, like Spencer's bootlegging side quest. Spencer Dutton was easily my favorite character in 1923 Season 1, with his and Alex's chemistry shining and their journey in Africa offering consistently compelling stakes. Splitting them up for 1923 Season 2 story, however, has been less appealing. Spencer's odyssey to Montana, in particular, has seen him primarily traveling around Texas, with him entangled between the mafia, the police, and a group of hobos. Leading up to 1923 Season 2, Episode 4 ending, he made some of the most questionable choices we've seen him make so far. Spencer is handcuffed to the car by his police adversary, but almost immediately manages to escape. I'm not familiar with the mileage on 1920s automobiles, but the car he escapes in seems like the perfect vehicle to gain some distance from the law. Instead of driving away and leaving the town, or even moving to a more discreet area to come up with a strategy, he turns the corner and crashes the car before getting out to run away on foot, barely making it into the train car he's going for. There are two reasons he might have done this, but neither add up. One, driving away in a police vehicle could have potentially led the police to him, but with this era's technological limitations, it still would have bought him more time. Second, he could have just crashed it so that the police officer couldn't use it, but then driving away would have created the same problem for law enforcement. It was a puzzling move, but at least he made it onto the train. The next choice Spencer made was on the train. He found himself outnumbered by 3 hobos who told him he'd have to make them an offering if he wished to stay alive, and they ended up attacking him in his sleep. Spencer shot the 2 grown male hobos and threw the girl against the train car wall. Now left with 3 bodies, Spencer decided to jump off of the train, leaving the mess behind. The alternative option would have been to drop the bodies off the train and ride the car to safety. Spencer might have been thinking that leaving the bodies on the railway would help the police follow his trail, and that by getting off, he could go in an alternate direction. But his main goal should be getting as far away from Galveston as possible. The police don't know his name, and they're not going to catch up to him in cars. It's also possible that Spencer might not have been thinking, as he'd just woken up and was sleep-deprived. The only reason I can think that Spencer Dutton would make these decisions is that Taylor Sheridan wants to delay the Dutton family's reunion in Montana. Spencer has yet to share the screen with any of his family members, and the entire show has essentially been the story of his return home. If Season 2 had opened with Spencer arriving on the Dutton family's doorstep, the whole season would be about the upcoming war against Whitfield and Creighton, but that's not the core of this series. 1923 isn't just about the Duttons defending their ranch. It's about what it meant to be a Dutton in the 1920s. Spencer can't just teleport. He has to experience all of this to make his return feel earned. While I wish Episode 4's obstacles had felt a tad less far-fetched, I believe the final episodes of 1923 Season 2 will justify the slow burn. To see him and Alex reunite, as well as the rest of the family, and have them rise up together to defend the ranch will be an exciting climax. Spencer Dutton has never been the brightest cowboy in the saddle, But in asterisk 1923 asterisk season 2, episode 4, he really outdoes himself with 2 decisions so dumb they make you want to scream at the screen. He's always been the rugged, adventurous type, full of bravado and recklessness, but this time, Spencer goes from fearless to foolish in ways that might just change the trajectory of his life, and not for the better. Hashtag asterisk asterisk dumb thing number 1. Trusting the wrong people asterisk asterisk. Spencer has survived shipwrecks, wild animals, war, and more, but his biggest weakness has always been his impulsive nature. It's like he thinks his good looks and sheer willpower can get him out of any situation. That might have worked before, but in episode 4, his overconfidence leads him straight into a trap. The trouble starts when Spencer, desperate to make his way back to the Yellowstone ranch, crosses paths with a group of seemingly helpful men, offering him a ride and safe passage through Montana. After all he's been through, you'd think he'd have developed some level of suspicion, but no. Spencer doesn't even hesitate before accepting their offer. It's as if he's never heard of deception before. At first, everything seems fine. The men share whiskey, tell stories, and act like they're just some friendly travelers. But the warning signs are there. The way they size him up, the glances they exchange when he's not looking, it's all too obvious that something is off. Anyone else would have noticed. Heck, even a half-drunk cowboy with one eye and a bad poker hand would have been cautious. But not Spencer. It's only when they lead him to a remote area, far from any town or witnesses, that he realizes his mistake. By then, it's too late. He's surrounded, outnumbered, and suddenly staring down the barrel of a gun. Turns out, these men are just travelers. They're outlaws, and they know exactly who Spencer Dutton is. They're after his money, his guns, and possibly his life. The real kicker: Spencer handed them all the information they needed on a silver platter. He told them about his family, his travels, even his plans to return home. If he'd kept his mouth shut, he might have walked away unscathed. Instead, he practically gift-wrapped himself for a robbery. Spencer, buddy, what are you doing? This isn't your first rodeo. How do you not see this coming? Hashtag asterisk asterisk dumb thing number 2. Picking the worst possible moment to fight back asterisk asterisk. Now, if Spencer had at least played it smart after getting ambushed, maybe he could have salvaged the situation. But no, he decides that the best time to fight back is when he's got no weapons, no cover, and at least 3 men aiming rifles at him. Bold, yes. Smart, absolutely not. Instead of biding his time and looking for an opportunity to escape, Spencer does the classic action hero move. He lunges at the nearest outlaw, thinking he can overpower them with brute force alone. Never mind that they're already ready for him. Never mind that he's outnumbered. He just charges in, fists swinging. Predictably, it does not go well. Within seconds, Spencer is tackled to the ground. One of the outlaws pistol whips him across the face, sending him sprawling. Another kicks him in the ribs for good measure. He's lucky they don't shoot him on the spot. Instead, they decide to have a little fun, tying him up and dragging him behind their horses like he's some kind of trophy. What was his plan here? Did he really think he could just punch his way out of this? This isn't some bar brawl in Bozeman. These men are killers. Spencer should have known better. He's a war veteran, a survivalist. He's faced death more times than he can count. And yet he acts like an impulsive teenager who thinks he's invincible. Eventually, of course, Spencer does find a way to escape. Because he's Spencer Dutton and fate seems to favor him, no matter how reckless he gets. But the whole situation could have been avoided if he had just used a little common sense. Hashtag asterisk asterisk What was he thinking? Asterisk asterisk. It's frustrating because we know Spencer is capable of better decision-making. We've seen him strategize before, use his wits to survive impossible situations. But in episode 4, it's like all that wisdom goes right out the window. Maybe he's too tired. Maybe he's too desperate to get home. Or maybe he's just let his ego take the wheel. Whatever the reason, these two dumb choices nearly get him killed. And for what? Because he couldn't read the room. Because he thought he could fight his way out of an ambush with nothing but his fists. Spencer, you need to get it together. The Dutton family is counting on you. And if you keep making decisions like this, you might not make it back to them at all.